This week, the Wichita City Council making some final changes to the 1% sales tax proposal.
Tuesday, council members passed the 7 so-called guardrails designed to guide the city on how the money should be spent. But some of these rules can be a little complicated to understand. So Brock Wilson sorting through that with an explanation so you understand what you're voting for. Brock?
Yeah, Mike, Rachel, these guardrails deal with issues like how much property tax relief will be provided, what initiatives will be prioritized first. Here's a detailed breakdown of the 7 guardrails, starting with a reminder, I should say, on where the money's going to go. A few of these guardrails simply put into writing how much money will be spent on each of the 5 sales tax initiatives. $150 million for property tax relief, $225 million for public safety, $250 million for the revitalization of Century 2 and an upgraded and expanded convention center, $150 million for homeless and housing services, including a multi-agency center and shelter, and $75 million for the development of a new downtown performing arts center. Property tax relief would be the first initiative supported. One guardrail says the city collects $20 million in sales tax revenue. Once that happens, there will be a $4 million reduction applied in the fiscal year of 2027. The next priorities would be homeless services and public safety, then the remaining initiatives proportionally after that. Now, as it pertains to a new downtown performing arts center, it's been put into writing that $50 million in private funding would need to be raised first before sales tax revenue is used. Private funding could reach a max of $75 million plus $75 million in public funding. There's also the possibility groceries could be exempt from the sales tax, but in order to make that happen, the city would need to get approval from the state legislature. If that's unsuccessful, the City Council approved annual payments of $55 for low-income families to reduce the burden of sales tax on necessities like groceries. Households would qualify for the payments if they meet eligibility requirements for the Low-Income Energy Assistance Program for the preceding tax year. Property owners that are eligible for the Homestead Refund Program would also be eligible for additional property tax relief. Now, if this still seems like a lot to digest, don't worry. The city has gathered all the relevant information and posted it online. You can find a link to that information on our website inside this story. Mike?